Good day, dear students. The discussion today is on population and development. We would like to analyze, is there any relationship between population growth and development, and also is there any relationship between development and population growth. I would like to submit to you that normally we are asked a question that what according to you is the two-way relationship between population and development. If we have to answer this question, we have to look at population and development, this is one relationship, and second, development and population, which is the second relationship. The normal mistake which students make is they discuss only one, population and development. They say men are the assets and men can be the greatest liability. Basically, they are saying that population contributes to development and population retards development. And since they have discussed these two issues as a contributory and as a retarding factor, and they say this is what is two-way relationship. But in actuality, they have only explained one relationship, because they have only explained that population and development has some relation. Well, the second relationship they have deliberately ignored is there any relationship between levels of development and population levels? So today's lecture will make it clear to you that the two-way relationship has to be studied as one, the relationship between population and development, if any, and two, the relationship between levels of development and population levels. Now there are two schools of thought as far as relationship between population and development is concerned, which is the first relationship I am talking. One school thinks that population is a contributory factor to development. The other school is pessimistic and it states that no, population retards development. We were talking about the two-way relationship and I was trying to explain the first relationship, that is population and development. I was saying there are two schools of thought as far as this relationship is concerned. The one school of thought is optimistic. It says that whenever population grows, development grows. The other school of thought is rather pessimistic, which says that population is a liability and retards development. Now, if you look at the first school, which is an optimistic school, they say if a country has large population, it will mean better utilization of resources, because it is the men behind the machine who are more important than the machine. So the capable, enthusiast and capacitated people will be in a position to utilize resources in a better way, which will lead to increased productivity, increased real national income, real per capita income and growth. The second point they raise is, with the increase in population, size of market will expand. Since inducement to invest depends upon size of market, larger population will mean greater demand for consumer goods. This greater demand for consumer goods will facilitate investors to come forward to invest in different industries. So investment demand will go up, and in nutshell, consumption demand and investment demand will both go up because of increasing size of market, which will be good possibility for growth and development. The third argument given is larger population will make it possible to introduce division of labor, specialization and go for innovations, which will also help developmental activity. Not only this, the fourth argument you can give is normally, of course, if they don't fight among themselves and they are not seeking for each other's blood, larger population will mean better defense. Can anybody dare to look at China and threaten them, because they have so much of army? Similarly, if India would have been a very small country with no people in defense forces, I think we were more vulnerable to insecurity. But yes, security can only be ensured when there is internal peace and harmony, not when we are fighting amongst ourselves. Aggressions can be external as well as internal also. The next argument I can give in favor of population contributing to development is the concept of demographic dividend. The idea of demographic dividend states that if with the population, the working population also increases and dependency ratio is less, it's a positive symptom for growth. You might have read that population of a country is divided into two categories, working population and non-working population. So people below 15 years of age and normally people after 60 years of age are either not fit or not capable or not willing to work. So they are part of non-working population. So demographic dividend will mean that the population in between the age group of 15 to 60 is increasing. Prime Minister Modi is always saying that India has demographic dividend. 35% of our population is in the young brigade. So people have not only one mouth, they have hands, they have brain, they have enthusiasm which can contribute to growth. Now I will show you the other side of the picture where I would like to explain how rising population can be a liability for any nation. The first point in my support we can give is increasing population reduces per capita availability of capital. It has negative impact on availability of infrastructure per head. You will agree that more the men, more houses are to be built, more sanitation facilities are to be provided, more food to be produced, more employment opportunities to be generated. You have to have more hospitals, more schools, more educational universities and so on and so forth. So per capita availability of these facilities will decrease. Have you ever gone to All India Institute of Medical Sciences? I wish you should never go there as a patient, but as a visitor you will find that how much time a emergency patient takes to be taken to the ward just because of pressure of too many patients to one single hospital. Similarly, you might have seen in your own universities how difficult it is to get admission even for the bright students. Why it is so? Because the demand is more and the available infrastructure catering to the supply side is less. So there is excess demand and this is a liability. Then you have seen food problem, unemployment issues, pressure on land availability, pressure on living standards, and not only this, the quality of human resource. How many people we are in a position to make empowered, skilled, which can be employed by the industry. So these are all pressures. And if we look at the Malthusian theory of population, who is blamed to be more pessimistic than optimistic, he also says normally the population has a tendency to grow at geometric progression 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64 and so on, while the production grows at arithmetic rate 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. And because of this dichotomy, there is a possibility that population, if not controlled, doubles itself within 25 years, and there is a tremendous pressure on the availability of goods and services for this rising population. There is a statement which says that the table of nature is laid for limited number of people and those who come uninvited must starve. He has said that if we really want to solve the problem of population, there can be preventive checks and positive checks. By preventive checks we mean late marriages, self-restraint, increasing dose of social security to be introduced in the system, promotion of family planning by abstinence, not by artificial means, because he was a Christian and he never propagated family planning through artificial means. You see, the economist who gives an idea about his theory speaks keeping in mind his contemporary time period where he is born. So we might today say that Malthus was pessimist, but during his time there was not much of technological progress, agricultural productivity was low. So he wrote this theory as per his own experiences. That's why he said people should go for preventive checks. They are better form of checks. And if not, nature will take care of its own course, which is natural balancing, which he calls about positive checks. Famines will come, diseases will come, floods will come and nature will take care of its balance by its own fury. And he used to say that natural fury is more dangerous. Therefore, people should wake up and go for preventive checks. Unfortunately, if we look at Malthusian theory, it is not much relevant. What is relevant today is the second theory of population, which is known as theory of demographic transition. And fortunately, this theory talks about the second relationship between development and population levels, which I was trying to tell you that two-way relationship. This is the second relationship now we are talking. Is there any relationship between development levels and population levels? The theory of demographic transition, which talks about 4 stages of this transition, suggests that in the first and fourth stage of demographic transition, there is no problem of population. The propagators of this theory have said that the growth rate of population is a function of birth rate minus death rate plus minus migration rates. But this interstate or inter-country migrations are very less nowadays because of restrictions on immigrations and emigrations. So we can safely say that growth rate is a function of birth rate and death rate. The theory says that in the first stage of demographic transition, the birth rate of population per thousand of population is high, and so is death rate. Please keep in mind that both death rates and birth rates are calculated per thousand of population. So if per 1057 people are taking birth and 55 are dying, there is natural growth of 2 persons, which will be there, because the concept of natural growth you cannot avoid. Human species would like to multiply like any other species, and therefore some growth of population will take place. If Delhi has suppose 5 crores of population today, then in 2060 it will not remain this much only. There will be certainly some increase because of this natural growth of population. But normally, because of high birth rates and high death rates, some balance is created and there is no problem of population. Please keep in mind, whosoever takes birth dies. I am not saying that nobody will die if death rate declines. I am only saying per thousand how many take birth and per thousand how many die in a year. If it is balanced, there is no problem of population. Normally this situation is associated with developing countries in their first stage of development when they are backward. As they start developing and they switch over from first stage to second stage of development, what we find is birth rates remain high but deaths are postponed, which we call falling death rates. Falling death rates does not mean people don't die. What I mean is people die late. They die mature deaths. Various reasons are responsible for this: development of health facilities, sanitation facilities, potable water, spread of education, spread of transport. All these things combined together leads to falling death rate. So now there is a mismatch. Births are more, deaths are less, and total growth becomes high. When we say population bomb is ticking or there is a problem of population explosion, this is the stage we are talking. High birth rate followed by falling death rates. The third stage is declining birth rates and declining death rates. The birth rates take time to decline because they are the issue of perception. They are the issue of psychology. So psychology takes time to change. But then country moves to the fourth stage, which is of stagnant population, where the births are low and death rates are also low. So if you look at the 4 stages, it is only the second stage of demographic transition as per this theory, which talks about problem of population explosion. And we have to be careful here. So the relation, what according to this is the relationship, because actually what we are discussing is not the theory but the relationship. So the relationship which we conclude is, it is the development stages of a country which will also affect population levels of that country. If the country is backward, it has no problem of population. If country is mature, it also has no problem of population. The only difference between the two is, in the first stage when country is backward, nature takes its own care. It balances. because births are also high, deaths are also high. But in mature countries case, it is the man's effort which have become more important, not natural balance. So it is man-made balance, while in case of first case it is natural balance. And if the country is developing country, they will always have population problem. So the relationship is why developing countries are facing population explosion and why mature countries or backward countries have no problem of population. This is the second relationship I am talking. And if we look at these two relationships, this is what I was trying to highlight, that the relationship between population and development is actually two-way relationship. One, population affecting development, and two, development affecting population levels. Stop. I hope my lecture on this issue of population and development has cleared your mind. Normally what happens is, since we are living in country like India where day in and day out we see masses all around us, so we have preconceived notion that population is the only problem we have. Economists also have said, if we look at Indian condition, if we can solve one problem, that is problem of rising population, half of its economic problems will be solved. Hope you will agree with me. Food problem, problem of housing, problem of rising prices, problem of sanitation, problem of overcrowding, problem of unemployment, many are linked to this problem of population. Therefore, we have this mindset that population growth is always dangerous. It's not like that. You might have heard about the third theory also, that is the theory of optimum population. We draw a curve which is reverse U type, which you will see in your diagram, which says that if with the growth of population or increasing levels of population, per capita real incomes, living standards, real national income levels, employment opportunities, standards improve, it's not dangerous. Actually, it is a welcome sign. It is only after a point that population becomes a liability. And when it becomes liability, when with the levels of increasing population, unemployment is increased, poverty is increased, per capita real income start falling, there is decline in living standards, quality of life deteriorates, and there is sustainability at stake. It is then that we have to really wake up, because it is a wake-up call, and if we don't wake up, it will be too late for us to wake up and we will be in coma. So I will appreciate that all the time you have not to think that population is always dangerous. No, it can be an asset also, and population is a function of development also. So this is what I wanted to say to you today. Hope you enjoyed. Thank you.